Hello, so today we're going to be going over a Suspicious Trenchcoat Violet game. So, I understand that Violet is like really broken right now, still kind of broken. I don't know how prevalent it is in your lobbies, but I find that it's harder to cap out around Violet a lot of the time. Suspicious Trenchcoat is one of those ways where it just brings it right back up to like Giga S tier, like game winning spot. It's mostly because of the interaction with Violet and the Suspicious Trenchcoat. I believe that it reprocs the Pit Fighter. I might be wrong about that, but I remember I was trying to analyze it in this game. But basically, when the Trenchcoat breaks off, a Pit Fighter like once per combat, when they drop below 50 HP, they'll just like start recovering their HP massively. So that interaction also works, and then because Violet herself does a bunch of like stunning and has a shit ton of damage because she's like really strong right now in the meta. A lot of times you can just play around it. Here I just take Artifact. I wasn't anticipating playing around Violet right away, but if you notice, right before I popped the Artifact, I saw that there was a Violet in my shop. So I saw Suspicious Trenchcoat. I'm going to be Violet paired. I might as well just take Suspicious Trenchcoat, and then if I have to, I can put on a different user later. Now, one thing I'll just go over now, just for in terms of stats and stuff. We can go look at, sorry, that's just my music. We can go look at the Suspicious Trenchcoat item itself and just like see who the better users are of it. So this is on tactics.tools, so I'm just gonna look at it really quickly. Delta just means like how good it is based on like playing that particular unit, and then relative delta is how good it is like on the particular unit, is the way you can think about it. So a lot of times, like, you know, it might be good on a unit, but like it's not good like overall or something like that. Either way, we just sort by delta. It's just easier to make sense of it. And the larger the negative number, the better it is. It means it's improving your placement by that much. Just that's like really good on Violet for the reasons that I was explaining before. It has a really high win percentage and a very basically like a guaranteed top 4 percentage. You'll see that's really good on Jace and a lot of the 5 costs, of course. And other pit fighters as well. And Bessa is one that's a little bit shocking that you can play around Bessa with it. And Bessa probably makes great use of it because she wants something that helps her to de-aggro. And then she attacks so fast and has a lot of like built-in Omnivamp as well as damage methods that you can make her snipe the backline, right? Because Bessa is a 2-range unit, so if she pops and she dashes, it's very easy for her to wrap and hit the backline is what I find. But then generally you'll just see it on like, you know, somebody like Smeech, who's like, once again, is just trying to like snipe the backline. And some of these other units, right? But the way that I was thinking about this game is like, if I hit a bunch of Violets, I'll just play Violet. If I don't hit a bunch of Violets, I'll play towards probably Bessa. And if I can't play around Bessa, I'll maybe consider a Smeech reroll if I get a Smeech at one point in the game and nobody is playing around Ambushers. I know a little bit. I looked into this before the game, actually. And the reason was because I recently, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, I did a video where I put Suspicious Trenchcoat on Mundo, and I said it was really bad. So I actually took the time to like look it up, and now I'm like, oh, okay, so I see Suspicious Trenchcoat, that's why I took it. It's not because I necessarily want to force Violet in this game. I just know that it's going to be very strong on her. So because I had a Violet pair, I was like, okay, let me my early and mid game will be kind of sorted out, right? I don't have to roll for Violet 3, right? I can just have Violet 2 for all of stage 2 and all of stage 3, and then I can just sell the Violet and put it on another unit later in the game. That's still a valid way to do it. It's not like I necessarily have to play Family Rule. It's like I'm Violet paired. I might as well take the item that is better on the Violet right now so that I can at least streak or win a lot of these stage 2 rounds, and then on stage 3 I can figure out what I'm going to do if I want to pivot. That's like the main idea. Whenever you're taking Ornn Artifact or these items, it's not only just thinking about like, oh, this item is like giga broken on some other unit. For example, if I got offered like Lightning Jewel, for example, you might look at me and say, well, Lightning Jewel is good on this unit and this unit, and why don't you just play around Malzahar because Lightning Jewel, Malzahar. It's like, do I have a Malzahar right now? No. Do I have a unit that can hold Lightning Jewel? Like maybe if I had a Morgana, I get Lightning Jewel and put on a Morgana, but I don't. So it's like I might as well just take the Trenchcoat. I have a Violet, and I have a Family Opener, and I have a second Violet in shop. Now I have a Violet too. I'm probably going to win pretty much every match on stage 2 now because of the Suspicious Trenchcoat, and likewise I'll probably win on stage 3 as well for the same reason. But like I said, if I don't end up playing around Violet, I will play around Bessa, or I will play around Pit Fighter with maybe a Vi. I'll try it out, like an Enforcer Vi line, or something else. Now, just as a spoiler alert, this game is going to end up being a Violet reroll. If you're a big hater of Violet reroll, I can understand. But, you know, that's just how it works out. And I think it was something that's worth telling you guys about these tech things, because if you haven't heard about it, you haven't seen it, this is something you should be aware of. Like, if you see Suspicious Trenchcoat and you have Violets, bang, you just win the game. There is another family player in the lobby, by the way. There is somebody who has Welcome to the Playground. So I already know that I won't probably commit to Violet here unless something really good happens to me later in the game. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because it's just going to be really inefficient because that guy's already gathering a bunch out of the pool. That was just the last board I was playing, by the way. So I'm going to try and figure it out. As you can see, I'm going to scout. You're going to see right now, this is going to be a family player. This guy has a mitten, so he's probably playing towards some sort of melee maybe, so I have to be careful of that. He has a Camille, so I don't know if he's playing ambushers. This guy is welcome to the family with a Camille, so I know that he's going to sell the Camille eventually. He's just going to be playing around Violet reroll, which is totally fine. I already made a video on Violet where I was talking about how to get like Violet 4-star and all of that stuff. That's still relevant. Just make sure that if you're rolling, you roll a little bit more. I think they added in 1 or 2 anomalies since the last time I made the video, if I'm not mistaken. So I think now you have to roll like 57 gold, or maybe I was wrong the first time when I said 52. Who knows? But just as a small update, if you came from that video, welcome back. Also, if you're from my tier list videos and those type of things, I've been getting a lot of dislikes on those. So if you didn't like those videos, I apologize. I think all the comments that I got of feedback from those videos were just people that were like, I don't know, like either hard stuck or really like dumb. So like I don't actually know if the videos are bad quality that I should stop making them, but I won't be making a tier list for a while now, so don't worry about it. If you did dislike it and are coming back, you won't see it for much longer. I usually just do 1 or 2 tier lists at the beginning, and then I will focus on guides like these are strong comps and these are flex guides, and those ones are usually a little bit more informative. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if the feedback about the feedback, because everybody was just saying something that was like blatantly wrong. Like I had somebody telling me like Enforcer is good, you should just play Enforcer more, you just don't know how to play it. And I was like, no, like what are you talking about? And then I had another person telling me that like Trundle and Scrap, he'd rather sell Trundle and rank Steb higher. And I was like, okay, my bad. I guess we just don't like Scrap in this house, which is fine. But here, like I said, in this game, we're going to be playing around Violet, which is totally fine. We're going to try our best to, we end up playing around Violet, but like I said, this is still a good opener if you don't have, if you're not going to play it long term, right? You shouldn't just, like, not play Violet because you're upset because, like, the game is bad. As you can see here, I literally have slammed no items, and I'm winning every single round. I lost the first round, but that's because I was like trying to establish my board. I didn't level to fit in family and all of that. But as you can see, I 4-streaked this lobby. I'm basically second highest HP, and I greeted all of my items. That's how powerful this Trenchcoat is on this Violet unit. I don't even have Pit Fighter in, by the way. Once I have Pit Fighter in, it goes even harder. So as you can see, most of the lobby has a Violet 2. This guy's welcome to the family, so we know he's going to be committed towards playing Violet 3. Welcome to the family gives you a copy of one of the family units, so either Violet, Vander, or Powder, while you're playing the game. Like if you survive 17 seconds, in a player combat, it gives you a copy of the unit. So anyways, we're not going to roll. I got a Smeech, so I can hold on to this Smeech, and I might be able to play around Camille reroll, because it looks like the other guy that was holding Camille sold it, and the other person that was holding Camille is the family player, which shouldn't really play around Camille at that point. They're probably going to pivot into like a Pit Fighter or some other build later down the line. So anyways, I take Trenchcoat. I instantly make Edge of Night. So if you don't know, what makes Trenchcoat really good is that it resets a lot of those items that say once per combat. So for example, if you have Trenchcoat, what will happen is first, before the Trenchcoat pops, Edge of Night will proc. So your unit will de-aggro once, then Trenchcoat will proc, then the 3 copies will have their Trenchcoat reset, so then the Trenchcoat will work on all of them. It's why interactions like Zonya's, Hourglass, and Trenchcoat is like very, very broken, and it's like a must-have on most units, because when you put those 2 things together, the same thing happens. So as you look here, you'll see my Violet, right? She will be fighting, right? Everybody gets away from her because the first Edge of Night proc, then the what's it called, the Stabilization Trenchcoat procs, as you can see, and then she splits again, and now she's going to be once again able to proc each of those individual 3 copies. Will have an Edge of Night where she can de-aggro. So it's very, very strong. This guy beats me this round. Like I said, I didn't really commit any items here, because Violet's a Pit Fighter. I don't need to necessarily make a Pit Fighter item. I'd much rather make something like a Sterex here, just to give her a lot of attack damage as well as some survivability with the HP. And as you can see, this is what happens, why I end up committing towards Violet. I hit Welcome to the Playground. So welcome to the playground. Basically, if at least 2 family members are alive after 17 seconds in combat or at the end of combat, gain a copy of Vander, Powder, or Violet, and then it immediately gives you a Powder and a Violet. Now, the thing that it doesn't say is that there's been augments like this in the past, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. With this particular augment, if you have a 3-star version of Vander, for example, if you have a 3-star Vander, then it will stop giving you Vanders. If you have 3-star Powder, it will stop giving you Powders. So it'll always give you one of the family members that you are missing. So that's really good for me, and it doesn't take into account, it's not like it's going to stop giving me units if somebody else hits. As you can see, the other guy that was welcome to the family hit Violet 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to level to 6, because that guy rolled all his gold down to try and find the Violets on level 5, sorry, and level 4. So I'm using the econ that I saved up from winning on stage 2 and then like making econ intervals. I'm going to roll on level 6 here. I'm going to try and gather some more high cost units to make my board a little bit stronger. And then I'm hoping that because like the way that the augment works, I'm going to get the Violet 3 just based on my augment. Now, if I can find copies of Powders, Violets, and Vanders, will obviously speed things up, because if I hit Powder 3, I'll start getting dropped only Violets. And if I start hitting Vanders, then I'll finish up with that area as well. So like I'm okay with rolling for Vander 3 here. And then just hoping that I eventually hit the Violet. So as you can see, I survived for 17 seconds last fight. So when we go back to my board, there's an orb for me to pick up, and it gave me a Vander. And that's kind of how this augment's gonna go. So it's gonna be kind of chill. The only thing here is that when you take Welcome to the Playground from a spot like this, I'm probably not gonna end up having how to describe it. I'm not gonna end up having like the Violet 4 build, like the 4-star Violet build, because I'm going to be spending a lot of gold on level 6 to try and stabilize my board and make it very strong. I'm not going to hit the Violet 3 until a lot later in the game, right? If you count the amount of rounds that it takes to hit everybody, it takes 9 rounds per each, so it's going to take like approximately, if you gather a couple copies, it's going to take like 20 rounds of you having to survive in order for you to hit these units if you don't roll a single time. I'm going to roll a lot on level 6, don't worry. I'm going to gather a couple units of it, but I do expect to hit like Violet 3 probably after the anomaly round. Now, I'm very confident that Suspicious Trenchcoat, I'm going to be fine. As you can see, I'm still winning fights, and if you look at the left side of my board, I still haven't slammed many items. It's mostly because I'm not sure which item I want to slam. I kind of want to wait till I get to Carousel to see what item I end up making, because all my components could be different things. Like if I get a sword, I might make a Bloodthirster. If I get like, you know, I could reasonably probably make something like an Even Shroud for Vander, and then play around the last 3 components, maybe make a Gwynsu for a backline unit, but I'm just unsure. Here I get the sword, so with the sword I'm probably gonna make a Starex, and that's why I didn't want to slam Even Shroud right away. So I'm probably gonna make Starex, and then I'll just decide what to do with the other items. I think that Starex works really well with the Suspicious Trenchcoat, because the same reason, like the Starex has like a once per combat type of situation. So I think that having Starex on the Violet with the Trenchcoat with the Edge of Night, I think that this is a good 3 items. You don't really need healing on the Violet, because she's gonna have healing because of the Pit Fighter trait. So she has a little bit of Omnivamp built in there. So I'm totally okay with like this type of build. If I was a little bit more worried, like if I wanted to drain tank more, then I think it would be something like a Bloodthirster would be fine. But I'd rather just have the survivability of the Starex, and then also have her pop, when she pops into 3, have the Starex reset, basically. So as you can see, I can still grid my items, right? I don't want to make a Last Whisper. I really want to make an Even Shroud, and then I don't know if I want to make a Gwynsu or not. I could just slam items here if I really wanted to like win streak like aggressively and like dominate the lobby, but like I said, I'm very confident that I'm going to be stable with this Trenchcoat and this Edge of Night pairing, that I don't really think I'm going to lose many of these fights for the time being. I'm just going to put the family units in my board, and then like the last game, you're just going to cap out around Pit Fighters. So, you know, in case you've never played the game before, I'll just show you the final board. There are a couple other variations. I still like this one. I haven't tried out the other variations. Some people play like Violet reroll with Camille now. I think the other family player in my lobby ends up doing that, but I don't really believe in that. Like, I don't know, it doesn't seem that good to me. But you know, to each their own. I think that you know, if you try it out and you really enjoy it, then by all means cap out your board that way. For me, the way that I usually cap it is like this. you just once you hit Violet 3, you just push levels, excuse me, and then you play Vertical Pit Fighter. Because the Vertical Pit Fighter, it's going to give you extra HP, which is very, very strong. It just makes her way more tanky. And then also gives her additional true damage. And she already does such massive damage that it kind of like steamrolls through most of the opponents. So I usually just play Vertical Pit Fighter. In between playing Pit Fighter, if you're ever at like an odd interval of Pit Fighter, so for example, let's say I'm not level 9 and I don't have Savika and I'm only 5 Pit Fighter, what you can do is you can drop one of the Pit Fighters. So for example, let's say I drop Urgot, and then instead of Urgot, you can play an emissary unit of your choice. The emissary unit I usually go for is Tristana, because Tristana just gives you attack speed. So a lot of times, like, you can play not Gangplank, and then you can play Urgot, which gives you like the Urgot and the Tristana both get Artillerist, and then you still keep your Pit Fighter synergy. But then as soon as you can get to 6 Pit Fighter, you can drop the Tristana and put in 6 Pit Fighter because it's going to be better. I'm just saying at like odd levels, you can do that. As you can see here, I'm just going to be rolling a little bit. I'm just trying to gather up some copies of the units to try and accelerate this Welcome to the Playground. Like I said, Suspicious Trenchcoat with the Violet is going to be stronger than most people in the lobby. If I gather on level 6 a lot of Urgots, you can also go for Urgot 3. I haven't really been seeing a lot of Urgots. I don't know if people are holding them, but I just haven't. So it is what it is. So as you can see, I'm 1 off of Powder. So I want to hit this Powder 3. Not because I'm necessarily going to be making items around Powder. It's just so that Welcome to the Playground starts printing me more copies of Violet instead of printing me copies of Powder. Like I said, though, I don't think I'm going to hit Violet 3 before the Anomaly round. So our Anomaly isn't going to be like the Giga Broken Violet 4 Anomaly. I think that it's fine in this setup because I have Suspicious Trenchcoat. If I was able to hit, like, let's say I was uncontested right now and there wasn't another Violet reroll and I already had Violet 3, then this would be like a Giga first, right? It would just be a Giga win out. But because, like, you know, I can't just, like, you know, I'm basically biding my time until I hit the Welcome to the Playground Violet 3. That's basically what I'm doing. So I'm buying as many copies of Vanders and Powders as I can so that Welcome to the Playground starts printing me copies of Violet. Because I'm essentially only 5 rounds away from a Violet 3 if I have good RNG. So, you know, if you roughly count, I should have it like slightly after the Anomaly round. I'm going to lose against this guy because obviously he has Violet 3. And he also has Unleash the Beast, which makes the Violet have anti-stun properties. So she can't get stunned by my Violets that triple split into multiple units. I should slam items here, though. I don't know why I didn't slam items. Like, I greeted items up until now, but I should start slamming at one point here. But I guess I was just waiting for the last round here. Lucky Gloves is okay. I don't think I need Piercing Lotus because I was able to make Even Shroud, if I'm not mistaken. Pit Fighter Emblem is probably the best thing you can hit. Because I can Pit Fighter Emblem my Vander, and I'm going to have a Vander 3. So Pit Fighter Emblem just makes it so that I don't have to find a Savika. So it's very, very easy for me to hit six Pit Fighter. I just need to find 1 copy of Vi, not Violet, like the older one. As you can see, I roll a little bit. I'm 2 off Vander, 1 off Powder, and 1, 2, 3, 4 off of Vi. So I should hit Violet 3 at the end of the stage. So I can actually stop rolling now. Essentially, like, basically I can stop rolling now. I should hit on 5-2, I'm going to have Violet 3. So if I have enough HP where I can make it to 5-3, I can stop rolling. That's basically why I was rolling. I wasn't rolling to hit them instantly. I was rolling to find enough copies to guarantee it that at the start of stage 5, I have this. You'll notice that in a lot of these fights, especially if people are playing reroll, I'll still be winning some of these fights. Obviously, I lose to the Vi player, the other Violet player. But I'm still very, very strong. Like this fight, okay, it's Kog'Maw. That's fine. I was on wrong side against the Kog'Maw and he has Radiant Guinsoo. But I'm going to be stable for most of these fights. This is also contested, by the way, right? I want that to be very clear. I'm rolling on 6 odds and I'm contested. So it's very, very, like, this is like, you know, what you would consider a really bad spot with other comps. But I believe so heavily in how strong this Trenchcoat is on this Violet unit that I'm showing you, hey, this is a game where this spot obviously looks bad, right? I think we can all look at it and say this is a bad spot. Also, I don't need to roll here. I think it's a little bit just like over eager. I can actually save that money because I don't need to find any more copies. The timing of it is going to be that I'm going to have the Violet, like when I'm low enough HP that I need the Violet, I'm going to have the Violet, so I'll be fine. So I don't have to roll here. But either way, I was one off Vander, one off Powder, so, you know, there's an argument that you can just roll and try and hit so that it goes a little bit faster and you save a little bit more HP. Sorry for the little skip. I had a little problem with the video. But anyways, going back to this, like, you can look at this fight, right? This is a fight where somebody doesn't have upgraded front line, upgraded back line, right? It's very common on level 8 that, you know, people contesting AP lines, they're going to low roll at one point. So, or there's going to be some people in the lobby that aren't, like, insanely strong, if that makes sense. So, I win this fight, right? This is a level 6 Violet 2 carry with Suspicious Trenchcoat. It is just very, very good. It unlocks a lot of potential for it. Sorry, I have to text mom. Alright. Okay, so let's see. So like I said before, the only downside is because I'm contested, I don't get to make a Violet 4. I'm definitely playing for placements, right? I'm not playing for like necessarily a first. I think this comp like this as is very firstable. But you want to have, like, if you were going for like Violet 4, for example, you want to have the Violet before the anomaly round to guarantee that. Now this is great, right? There was a Powder in my shop, so I hit Powder 3. That was pretty high roll. The Welcome to the Family gave me the Vander 3. So Vander 3 with Pitfighter Emblem is going to be really great. I'm double Gwinsu on my back line so that I can have him scaling up a little bit. I'm going to put Asterix on the Vander because now I think the Vander is going to do a little bit more damage. So I'd rather take the Hodge off and have the Vander kind of just with the Pitfighter Omnivamp do damage and have a little bit more tankiness with that Asterix gauge. So as you can see here, this is a Silco 2 Mundo 2 board. I don't know if we're going to win it necessarily, but it's going to be close for sure. This guy's going to be very strong. He's not full Chem Baron cash out yet. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's doing like a win streak Chem Baron to try and get like a 300 cash out later. But it's going to be very close either way. Right? He has a Silco. He has a, I don't know what he has. He has a Dude 3. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, narrow loss. That's fine. We're still like decent HP, right? We're still 50 HP before anomaly round. We get Violet 3 in 4 turns. So 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2. It counts neutral rounds. So like 5, 2, we're gonna have Violet 3. That's good enough, right? We're definitely gonna live for 4 rounds with 55 HP, and we probably even win 1 or 2 rounds. So we're gonna be fine. Here, I'm obviously rolling for anything that helps out the Violet. Attack damage is good. General tanky stats is also good. So I probably want something that like gives her some sort of like survivability. I'm rolling kind of deep here. I'm just looking for anything. Gain an emblem is alright as well. I'm kind of down for gain an emblem. Ooh, this is kind of risky, but I'm okay with it. Actually, I'm okay with that. Because the Violet's like if I get Pitfighter +2, it's an instant win. Oh, I got family. That's fine. Yeah, 4 family I think is better. I think 4 family just gives attack speed. It gives like way more attack speed than an anomaly. So I'm down to just upgrade to 4 family. Because attack speed is probably better for this this Violet just to like keep the Omnivamp going and to keep the damage up. So like if there was an attack speed one, I'm down for it. I think it also boosts the 4 family also boosts the overall durability, right? Let me find it. Yeah, you get an extra 5% reduction and 20% attack speed. So basically my anomaly worked out to be I either instant win if I hit the extra Pit Fighter, because then if you get to 8 Pit Fighter, you just win the game for free. Or I get 5% damage reduction and 20 AS, which is good enough. It's 5% and it also works on my Vander. So basically my anomaly was basically Vander and Vi both get 5% extra durability and 20% AS, which is a good anomaly, right? Like if you put it like that, it's pretty good. So I'm down. As you can see, I'm only 2 Violets off, just gathering them all up each round. Yeah, so it's gonna be like 5. Oh, I get on a neutral, so it's gonna be 5-1. I'm gonna have Violet 3. That's good enough, right? This is what I was saying before, right? We're just biding time. This Trenchcoat is stable, right? Against most boards, you could position a little bit better. I see people, like, what they do sometimes is they solo frontline the Violet to make her proc the Trenchcoat earlier. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think the rest of my board has enough damage to take down the opponent if I don't have this Violet kind of like off to the side and take the aggro second. I also have Vander 3, which is way tankier, so I'd rather have the Vander take first aggro and then the Violet kind of like try and get a little bit of a wrap going on. So as you can see there, next round we get Violet 3. And we didn't have to roll that much. Obviously, we had to roll a little bit for some copies of Vander. If we high rolled into Urgot, I was never really in a point. I was selling Urgots at one point, but I wasn't in a point where I felt like I can play around Urgot 3. But when you're playing around Pit Fighter and you have and you're rolling on 6 odds, you could play towards the Urgot 3 as well. Here I'm just prepping to go level 8. So next turn I'm going to go level 8. You can notice I'm holding a Kog'Maw on my board. The reason I'm holding a Kog'Maw was because this guy, this is me offline by the way, so I don't really care about what people have to say. When I'm offline, I'm playing like as like aggressive as I can. This Kog'Maw player, the whole game, he was holding like 4 Violets. I don't know if you saw it in this VOD. You probably can see it at one point. But like, he was holding Violets to try and grief me and the other family player for most of the game. So I have repeatedly been holding his unit because it's like, listen, I'll sell if he sells, right? So I sold now because now I fight him and he doesn't have Violets on his board anymore, so I'm okay with that. But it's just like, you know, what are you doing, right? You know what I mean? It's like he's wasting gold. He wasn't making econ intervals, and then he only sold them, I think, because he ran out of bench space. So it's like, I'm just gonna hold your units too, right? It's like, if he wasn't holding units, I wouldn't hold units. That's the only reason I was holding the Kog'Maw. If you look at it and you're like, you're being a dick, it's like, well, he started it, you know? I'm totally down to not hold any of those units. Here I hit Vi. I hit the Savika, which is pretty massive. So I can play Savika, and then remember I was saying before, you can play Tristana as your in-betweener. But here I'm 6 Pit Fighter, Violet 3 Suspicious Trenchcoat. Remember last time we played this guy, we lost. I don't think we're anywhere close to losing anymore. And we're also still, like we haven't been win streaking. I just want to point it out, right? We haven't been win streaking all that much, right? Like, you know, it hasn't been, like, dominating the lobby. We're second highest HP, right? It's because even when we lose rounds, this Suspicious Trenchcoat Violet, we are good enough to, like, be in the realm of okay, right? Like, we're not losing by a lot of units. So even though we didn't, like, straight up, like, 5 win, 5 loss, we're well enough off that we're still very healthy. You get what I'm trying to say? Now what we want to do for a lot of these fights, here I'm just going to make the Zeri. This is the same reason as the other guy, by the way. I'm holding Garen because Garen I can actually play as a better Watcher unit. Here I'm going to put all of these items onto Vi over here, like Big Vi, not Little Violet. Because Big Vi with Family Emblem, she's pretty good in a front line with Vertical Pit Fighter. So I'm down to put her in. I'm making the Zeri because I made the Zeri to cost me 1 gold, right? Technically, I could sell all the Zeris and I would have been at 19. So it is going to cost me econ here, a little bit of econ. I don't care because I know that guy's going bot 4 and he was holding the Violets the whole game. So, like, you know, don't hold the Violets next time. Like, what do you want me to tell you? I'm not going to give him a chance to live now. Like, you know, it's not like, oh, I'll stop holding them. No, it's like, you know, he started it. Okay? Injured dog bites hard. I learned that from Valorant. Hashtag Cypher players. You know me. You know what I'm talking about, right, guys? But yeah. Don't hold on to units if you don't have to. There's no reason to grief players. Unless you, there's no reason to grief players unless, like, it directly affects your placement. Right? Like, that guy's playing for top 4. I'm playing for first. He shouldn't be griefing me. He should be griefing the guy that's playing for 4th. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point? It's like, I don't need money, right? I'm 6 Pit Fighter. I'm not leveling for anything. Like, my level 9 is nothing. This is my board for the rest of the game. So it doesn't matter if I hold extra units here. I'll just hold every Firelight, every Zeri that I see until he doesn't have any Zeris. You know what I mean? But that's fine. That's a little bit toxic, but just, like, as a note to everybody, like, you know, don't hold other people's stuff unless you really have to. And if you think it's valid that he's holding, then for the same reason I'm holding, you know? If you're just gonna grief people, you know, I'm not griefing anybody else. You see I have VODs forever. The only time I ever grief people is if they start griefing me first. This is bad positioning, by the way. Whenever you're playing against a Heimer like this that scales, you always want to put the Violet on the same side. So this was a little bit lazy of me. If the Violet's on the same side, you don't risk any losses here, because one of these 3 Violets is going to turn around and hit the Heimer in the schnoz, and he's going to die. So as you can see here, I lose this round. That's just my own fault. That's just laziness. Also, while doing the family, after you have 3-star everybody, just continually drops you a copy of Powder. I am not interested in Powder 4 because it's going to take way too long. There's no way this game is going for another 18 rounds for me to get all the powders necessary. So yeah, we just don't worry about it. Conqueror doesn't really do that much. Garen gives a little bit of HP, so I'm actually down to play this Garen this turn. So yeah, it's fine. Whenever you're playing these boards with scaling comps, for example, like this Kog'Maw that has Gwynsu Archangels, that, what's his name? The Heimer that has Archangels, you always want to put the Violet on the same side as those units. If you put it on the same side, what happens is they pop, and then once they pop, they can turn around and snipe the backline. See, like if you watch this fight, watch this Violet, once she pops open, like once this Trenchcoat procs. Oh, never mind. I just outright just beat him because of damage. My Trenchcoat still haven't procced yet, so like he's just done. Yeah, GG, I guess. But typically what you want to do is if you have the Violet take the first aggro, then she will explode in front of the backline unit, and then she could turn around and kill the backline unit. So I think I'll show it a little bit later in this game. Hopefully this game at least convinced you with this suspicious Trenchcoat tech. Now obviously, like I said, I wouldn't have committed to Violet if I didn't hit Welcome to the Playground. Welcome to the Playground is very, very good. It's just very good. As you can see, Suspicious Trenchcoat Violet, like if I didn't have Violet 3 right now, like on stage 5, I would have lost every single round. I would have ended up 7th, right? 100%. Because I have Welcome to the Playground, I rolled a bit on 6. I found a couple copies of Vander. I put myself in a spot where, okay, I will guarantee have Violet 3 on stage 5. And I saved enough HP in the mid game because of how broken Suspicious Trenchcoat is. And this is with no Omnivamp, by the way. It's totally fine. I just take Deathblade because it's like if I hit Savika 2, I hit Savika 2. Here I can level. I'm just going to level for Tristana. I'm totally down for that. I just want to make sure that I get my proper placements. A lot of these boards are very temperamental on whether or not I could guess the right side. So for some of these matchups, for example, this one, I don't want to be on the same side because if I take the aggro of the Zoe, sometimes the Zoe can just kill my dude ahead of time. So I don't really care about being on opposite side or same side in this situation. But for some of the scaling comps like the Heimer, it literally can come down to a coin flip on whether or not he switches sides or not. I know you can scout and you can try and position, but in my like general like, you know, like when I'm playing the game, a lot of the times, oh man, do I lose this? Damn, I just narrowly lost. Maybe this was the same side and I snipe. That guy's very strong, by the way, because he has Paint the Town blue. So as you can see, there was like a second copy of Alawi that reappeared on the board. That's because he has an augment that basically like when rebel units die, they reappear with like as a clone. So yeah, it's just very hard to deal with because I think I just needed like a little bit more attack speed. That's why I was trying to level that turn. That's a level and lose the round anyways. I want to level to make sure that I was strong enough to I want to make myself as strong as possible to try and guarantee myself as a top 4. Because there's still a chance I can lose out, right? Obviously, I waste a lot of gold early game. A lot of other people are really capped out. Look at this guy. This guy was playing Vertical Chem Baron and winning, and then he cashed out into a bunch of Chem Baron items. It's a very creative use of Chem Baron, I would say. Because he wasn't like starting the game lose streaking. He just like hit a Silco and then just played Vertical Chem Baron off the Silco instead of playing like Dominator Black Rose. So, you know, it's kind of cool, I guess. But there's boards like this where I can easily just lose without like, you know, like there's nothing I can do here. This guy's just really high, a lot higher cap than I am. I need somebody who's stronger than him to beat him. Because, you know, if I go Violet same size as Silco has multiple units. If my Violet pops and then he does this extra cast on the Violet again, I'm pretty sure that I just lose that round. So I want to be on opposite side of the Silco. And I want to be on same side as the Heimerdinger. So, you know, it's like, it's a little bit awkward. If I hit Savika 2, I probably can win out here. I get rid of Garen. Oh, that's what happened. Chat or YouTube chat. I didn't even notice. I think past me is so dumb. Look, I had one emissary in this game, and then I think I fought somebody else, and I put in I think I had like the wrong emissary. Yeah, like I think I had one round. I think I had Tristana in while I had Garen in, so I didn't have the proper emissary like a couple rounds ago. But it's fine. Here I just put in Rumble. As you can see, this is what I was talking about before. So against this guy in particular, this Heimer player, I want the Violet on the same side as the Heimer. So watch what happens. This is very, very important. This is what I was talking about before, right? So this is what I was waiting for, right? I can only fight the Heimer player. I don't position the whole game for it. I position, boom. What happens? One of the Violet turns around. What happens? Decked on the Schnoz. Heimer's dead. If you leave the Heimer around, his Archangel is going to scale and he's going to wipe the whole board. Instant win this round. Very narrowly killed this guy off, and I'm pretty sure he's the strongest in the lobby. Very narrowly killed him off. That was 100% a positioning diff. Right now, that doesn't work as well against some of the other boards, like the Silco board, because Silco has a lot of HP because of the Chem Baron cash out, but also because Silco hits like multiple units. Heimer kind of like tunnels on one unit, so even if like one of them turns around, like the other ones still kind of live. So it's like it's a little bit different. I'm not sure if I can do that with the Silco or the Zoe, but we can try it with the Zoe at least. I think I can do it with the Zoe. The Silco guy died, so that's really good for me. I just take a red buff because I'm like attack speed is attack speed. I'm not sure what the best item would be to take there, so I'm okay with just taking that one. Sorry, my music stopped, and then we're going back here. So yeah, we're basically just playing for first. It comes down to like, I don't want to say it's a coin flip, but it comes down to being close to a coin flip. Here I'm positioning same side as Zoe. Before I was scared about same side Zoe, but at this point it's like, let's try it out. Let's see if it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. In my experience, it always works with the Heimer, but Zoe sometimes just like kills them all too soon. I think it's working. Okay, it worked. I mean, this is clone though. The reason that it works sometimes, it's like it's a matter of how tanky the backline unit is. Because like if my Violet turns around and it procs first, sometimes what happens is because Rebels get extra HP. I've had it where the Violet, when she turns around, it happens a lot with Camille when I do it. Camille turns around, she tries to kill the Zoe, she doesn't one-shot the Zoe, and then the Zoe in turn just Uno reverse cards and one-shots back, and I'm just like, oh, I guess that happened. GG. Here I'm gonna transfer items onto Savika. This is really bad of me though. I'm spending way too much time thinking here, so I didn't actually scout the Heimer player. So as you can see, the turn's gonna end, and I see the Heimer on this side, but he just baited me, right? Like I took a quick glance, but I didn't have time to see that he was moving around a lot. So I thought that, oh, maybe this guy's just gonna keep the Heimer there. No, he put Heimer on opposite side. That's just my bad. It took too long on the turn. So this was a match that I would have gotten first here, by the way. If I like, maybe I don't because of the crystal. Maybe the crystal blocks it. But I'm pretty sure I go first here if I had the Violet on the same side. But it's gonna be a second because, as you can see, everybody's taking too long to get to this Heimer. He's max scaled on the Radiant Archangels. Perfect lethal, by the way. If I killed one more unit, I could have lived one more turn. Because round 6, I think you can live one turn with 14 HP. But I didn't, so it is what it is. And then the final board, as you can see here, so just Violet with Trenchcoat. Now it's really unfortunate. I don't know what the guy in 5th was doing. I think he was playing the Ambusher build because he's playing around Echo and like Jinx. But I think if he played Vertical Pit Fighter, the other Violet player would have gotten top 4. He also didn't roll for 4-star Violet, so you know, it is what it is. I wasn't trying to grief that guy. We both hit all of our units 3-starred, right? Because we had Welcome to the Playground. He hit Violet 3 like in stage 3. You know what I mean? So I didn't intentionally try to grief that guy. It's just that this was the best board I could have played. And then like of the other boards, the Zoe board was maybe hard to beat. The Chem Baron guy, I don't know how he lost. Somebody just beat his ass. We'll take those. And I could have maybe beat the Heimer if I positioned a little bit better. But that's basically like it. That's Suspicious Trenchcoat Violet. If you want to try it out in your own games, you see Suspicious Trenchcoat and you have a couple copies of Violet. If nobody's playing Violet, you can play around it. If you think that you have a good spot to contest it, you can contest it. If you hit Welcome to the Playground, then it's just free. Like what I showed you here. It's like the Violet 2 is good enough because it's just like, you know, pretty overtuned. And then you just cap out around vertical pitch fighter is the way that I would usually go about it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope that was enjoyable, and see you guys around. Bye bye.